What is going on, guys? This is Jagnol back again with another video, and today I'm going to be giving my initial thoughts on EA College Football 25. The game has been out for 24 hours as of recording this video, and I've been playing it for many hours. I've not been playing it for 24 hours straight. I have slept, I promise you there. But I have played many hours of this game so far, and I have tried my best to play all the game modes so I can give at least a good initial thought of this game. And overall, my initial thoughts, just if you don't want to watch the rest of this video, is I think it's a great game. It is far from perfect, though, and I think that's something that we should expect from a game that has been in active development for about 2 years, announced 3 years ago. It's not a game that was in development or been in development for 10 years like what people are saying. They were not working on this game for 11 years. Obviously, that is the gap between the most recent releases, but there's still some things that they did miss on. I think the way that I like to look at it is that they have some big hits and then really small misses. But I will kind of talk about those a little bit in this video, and then I will do a more detailed review later on as I play the game more. But these are just my initial thoughts of playing the game modes, seeing the presentation, looking at all the details. And this is the thing, guys. Another thing is I will give EA a little bit of slack because there's 134 teams they've had to put in, and that's just a lot to do. So of course, some things may be a little repetitive, but I'll get into that in just a moment. But also, if you do want to play the game early, I did make a video not too long ago how you can play the game early. It's through EA Play. I am not sponsored by EA at all. But if you do want to play the game early, you can do a 10-hour game trial by signing up for an EA Play membership. You don't even have to buy the game. I think it's like $6, and then you just cancel it immediately, and it gives you a 10-hour trial. So if you do want to play the game early, and in between now and the standard edition, which comes out on Friday, you can do that. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so let's just talk about the things that I do like. I will just say that the core gameplay and also the game modes seem pretty solid. Obviously, this game plays a lot more like Madden 24 than it does NCAA 14, which, come on, that makes sense. You're talking about a game that was on two engines ago, which was NCAA 14, versus a game that are on the same engines, like Madden 24 and NCAA, screw the NCAA, EA College Football 25 are both on Frostbite. And while saying it again, College Football 25 is on the same engine, you can definitely tell that this game was built from scratch. And I'll kind of mention that. And just right away, you can just tell by how the game looks. This game is only on the current generation of consoles, which is the Xbox Series X/S and PlayStation 5. And then for PC players, I really feel for you guys. I've been a PC gamer for like 10 years, and I had to buy an Xbox just so I could play this game. I really feel for you guys. I hope that they find a way to port this game over soon. If they could do it this year, that'd be great. I'm not sure if they'll be able to do it this year. Hopefully next year. I do think that the PC community does matter in terms of Madden, or not Madden, but EA Sports games. I mean, I did play Madden on the PC a lot before I decided to buy an Xbox just to play this game. So I really do hope that that works. And I understand that from a dev perspective, it's a lot easier to develop for two consoles that they're on the exact same hardware versus trying to port over to a game which everyone's computers are different, everyone has different specs, and you can't just change just video settings to I think it's a little bit more different when you're trying to port things over to PC. So I hope PC players, you guys get the game at some point, or at least a version of the game either in the future. That is something that I hope you guys get. So in terms of the quality of the game, I would say in terms of details and graphics, it's incredible. It is by far the best sports game I've ever seen, period. I mean, it just looks so good. I mean, just compared to Madden 24, it's night and day. And I played both of them on my Xbox Series X, and you could just tell that the game just looks so much better. And you can tell that they have developed for these consoles and for the full power of these consoles. And you could just tell by the jerseys. I mean, the biggest thing is you can tell that the textures on the jerseys are very accurate to real life versus on Madden 25 or Madden 24 in this case. The jerseys don't look fully accurate. The mesh material just doesn't really, it's like they don't have that kind of material that that is with like the current Nike jerseys, and even with the other brands that they have into the game, because Madden doesn't have any, Adidas or Under Armour. It's all Nike. Even the Under Armour jerseys look very accurate to like the specific textures. And I know this sounds really stupid. Like, why is this guy talking about textures? I will say that it just shows that they put the attention to detail where they could. The graphics is probably the best part about this game. They really hit it out of the park with the graphics, and overall it looks incredible. And just overall, each team looks great. And then moving into the presentation and then every team's intros, there's wins and small misses from this as well, because the big wins is like most teams, I think every team has their own custom intro, which is awesome. But the one thing is that they only have like one specific intro, so if you're like playing a Road to Glory or a Dynasty, it's going to get very repetitive, which of course you can just skip it. But I know some people are be like, oh, I wish they like changed the angles or changed the dialogue. Like Reese Davis will say the same 2 lines before every Memphis game that I've been playing for my Road to Glory, just to like test out the game. Trust me, I plan on doing a Road to Glory for the channel probably, unless you guys don't want to. I mean, if you guys want to see those type of videos, I do plan on doing that. But I just wanted to test out the game for just so I can give my thoughts. So overall, I will say that in terms of the presentation, it is definitely like there are some moments that are really highs, and then there's some things that like it's going to get a little repetitive over time, and that's just kind of how it is. When you have 134 teams you have to put in, even with 2 to 3 years, that's still a lot of time to fully animate and put these things in the game. I think this is definitely something that they could just build off and add it in future games. I know I'm talking about the future, but like I feel like College Football 25 is really just setting the foundation. It's really just trying to get it on a solid platform so it can build off. And I think for, again, this is the first game back. They've really done the most possible. Another thing in terms of presentation is that I don't mind the EA Sports like score bug, because I know that they didn't do an ESPN score bug, which they've done for all the college football games, at least for the last few that came out 10 plus years ago. So those are just some things that at that time I was a little worried that, okay, like how is EA Sports going to do it? And I think they did pretty well with the presentation. I do like the score bug. I like how it's on the bottom, and it does sound like a nice broadcast. And I do like how they have 2 broadcast teams. However, this is something I may mention in my review, is that the 2 broadcast teams, the way that they distribute them is kind of interesting. So you basically have Reese Davis, David Pollock, and Jesse Palmer for like 90% of your games, unless you become the game of the week, and that's when you get Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler. And I will say this is a hot take. I think the Reese Davis crew is better, like the normal just broadcast crew. I just think the big game crew, I'm kind of underwhelmed by Chris Fowler's commentary. Like, I don't want to be a hater or anything. It just doesn't sound like he has a lot of, doesn't put as much passion as Reese Davis. Like, Reese Davis kind of kills it. I actually really like that commentary team. And I guess it's cool that there are 2 broadcast teams. I think it's cool just for the variance. But you can tell, like, if you're playing in a big game, it's almost like they should just be swapped, because Reese Davis is a lot more animated, and you make a big play, it's a lot cooler. And I just think that's, another thing. One other thing I noticed about in terms of, like, presentation is that I love how animated the crowd gets. That is something I really like, and especially that gets the immersion on point. That was one thing with Madden for a while, is like, I remember in the older Madden games, like I think it was like Madden, 19, 20, I just remember there would just be a time where like you haven't even kicked the ball off, and then all of a sudden the fans just get up and just start hysterically jumping up and down like you just won the Super Bowl, and you haven't even kicked the opening kickoff, and it's like it's the craziest thing ever. So I'm glad that like whenever like you're running down the field and you're running back an interception and you're about to score, the crowd starts jumping up and down. That's awesome. I think that's such a cool thing. I also love how the crowd is very loud in the game, and that there definitely is like I haven't even changed the volume sliders because I wanted to show like how it would look like stock. And I just love how, the crowd is really loud. I also like how, each team seems to have their own, chants, and also like their marching band and songs that associate with different things. Like, if you get a first down, they play this. If you get a touchdown, they play that. And that's another thing in terms of that old nitpick. Like, for example, with Florida State, like some of the like the I guess the songs that they play, they're not 100% like accurate. Like it seems like the notes are a little off on some parts, because you can tell that like there was someone else that was recording these, and yeah, obviously like you don't have Chiefs, like you're not gonna put Chiefs and have them record it for you, because that would just take a lot of time. I mean, if I wish they could, that would be great. So like, and then other things is like, is the right song playing at the right time? And then like in terms of like Florida State's field, like their field's a little inaccurate in terms of like the boundaries. Like there should be like a solid white boundary instead of just a hollow one, and that the numbers should have a garnet outline. These are really small nitpicks, but this is someone like, as a huge FSU fan, I noticed immediately. And I know that if you guys have a favorite team, you probably will notice those too. And then these are the things that, like, again, they have the 134 teams. I'm sure they got a lot of the teams, right 100%, but there's probably some that they still, haven't gotten all the way, and hopefully they can either patch it or either fix it. I mean, I'm hoping these are really simple fixes. But yeah, it looks like, I've heard that like there's been like administrators already reaching out to the devs. So I do think we are expecting a pretty decent sized patch. And that's another thing. Moving on to like uniforms. So some of the uniforms that teams are been unveiling, this is something I was actually curious about this, because EA only really adds uniforms in that were like sent in by the school. So like if the school doesn't send in the uniforms, they're not going to put them in the game. So when we saw like 30 schools change their uniforms, I was interested to see like how many did they send to EA preemptively, and how many were just like, they just unveiled them and hope that they get added in later. Because there were some uniforms that still aren't in the game. Like, for example, Florida State has a turquoise jersey that isn't in the game. They haven't worn them in game. I think they wore them in the spring game. I think they'll wear them once this season, but those aren't in the game. I think Ole Miss changed their white jerseys from red numbers to blue and blue stripes. Those aren't in the game yet. And those are the things I'm like, you know what, this isn't like a huge deal. And I'm hoping that, and I believe that a lot of these changes will come in as a patch and not DLC, because I think the only thing that would come in for DLC would probably be like throwback uniforms or really special ones. But I think EA should, in this case, like jerseys that are specific to 2024 season, they should be patched in for free. That's how it should work. So that's pretty simple. Now moving on to more of the game modes. Oh, I guess quickly about the gameplay. I will say, like, again, the gameplay does play more like Madden than it does NCAA 14. However, I actually do like it. It is definitely something that you have to get used to. Like, if you haven't played a football game in years, it's going to take a while. Like, I've seen people jump in on Heisman mode and get rocked. And you know what? That's how it should be, because Heisman mode should be the most difficult. So without having to adjust the sliders, if it's a little bit difficult, I'm glad that's the case. I'm doing a test Dynasty with Florida State on All-American, and I'm not blowing teams out. Like, I'm going down I'm only beating like Memphis by like 12 points, because I'm not the greatest at the game yet, because I haven't played it yet, or played much of it yet. So I will say that I'm glad that the game is kind of difficult, and there's obviously a lot of mechanics that you have to understand and know how to play. But I know some people have already mentioned that this is already a Madden. This plays exactly like Madden because there's like similar animations and stuff. I think this is a much more physics-driven game. And another thing is, like, this game is extremely explosive when it comes to its gameplay. Like, there's a lot of broken tackles, there's a lot of fumbles, dropped passes, and that's kind of how college football is, because college football, like, not everyone's a superstar like in the NFL. In the NFL, if you throw it to someone, they're gonna catch it. Or if they're rarely gonna fumble the ball unless they're like like a guy who's known for doing that. So, like, I'm glad there's a lot of randomness. I do think the competitive community may not like it that much, because especially with like the kind of like how easily you can move your player around with like the stick skills. I've seen a lot of people saying this game's already broken because of that. I'm like, dude, college football is supposed to be explosive. Like, that's the whole point of it. If you want a game that's a lot more precise, that's really what Madden's for. Like, Madden's still gonna have a place in this ecosystem, in this gaming community. Like, college football has always been a more like explosive, random game that's like just how it's played. So for people who want to be like, oh, it needs to play more like this, no, I feel like EA is doing it right, and it does seem like it's more like, quote, arcade like, but I do think in terms of physics, there's a lot of things that I've noticed, and are some parts where, like, because of the physics, can be some glitch outs, but I'd rather have like those happen than get sucked into an animation. That's just me. Okay, so that's the gameplay. We got a little bit of the presentation. Let's move on to like the game modes. So overall, Dynasty and Road to Glory, I'll kind of lump them in together for this. Again, I don't want to go into a full deep dive. They're pretty awesome. I do like how you can customize your conferences. Again, this is something that's similar to NCAA 14. And yeah, a lot of the things are similar to NCAA 14 in terms of, you know, how the custom conferences are and how you can change the rules. But I'm glad that's in the game. You know, those are things that I feel like EA could have just kind of removed and people would have been like, okay, that's just how it is. But I'm glad that they brought in at least like this. They at least have the bar, at least where NCAA 14 was. They're kind of carrying the torch from there. And then there's obviously and there is some more things you can do as well. I do love how like all the uniforms and you know, things on the field update like dynamically, which is awesome. Like I put Boise State in the Pac-12 and the patch looked perfect on the field. It didn't look like it was just placed there. It looked like it was supposed to be there, which I think that's cool. Again, something that was in NCAA 14, but I'm glad that they put the attention to make it work for this game. Again, build from scratch, so they easily could have screwed it up. So at least they did it right on the first try. And yeah, so like Road to Glory, I think is pretty cool. Like I've been doing a little bit of a test Road to Glory, and I made myself a 2-star, and I put them on Memphis. And I'm barely seeing the field at the end of year 2. Like, it's crazy how much of a grind it can be if you start off as a 2-star recruit. And I think that's awesome. I really think that's kind of something that I like more than what the old NCAA games gave us, because in NCAA 14, you played in high school and then you were at least a 3 to 5-star recruit. Like, you had to botch your games to not be like a 5-star recruit. And then you were able to become like a starter within like week 4. Like, it was insane how easily you were able to just take over a team, and that's just not how it works. So the fact that like when I was playing as Memphis, like it is a grind just to get to be 3rd string running back. That's stuff that's really cool and interesting. So I do think overall, like the grind that you can have to go through for Road to Glory is kind of cool. And I love how you have to spend your time and how you have like, I thought like the way they did the little conversation through the text, I actually like it, because I know in other game modes or in other games, they would have these stupid cringy cutscenes, but now like I think EA has kind of done some they're able to like add a little bit of a storyline, but also like they just seem a little bit more random. And I saw on Twitter some guy got blocked. Like, he was talking to a girl that was going to a party, and then he started like triple texting her, and then she got blocked in the game. And I thought, it was like, what the heck? Like, that was the funniest thing ever. And then I'm like, all right, you can't go to the party no more. Like, that's something that's like hilarious, how that's technically going to impact like your NIL abilities, because you were a creep to this girl. So like, that was something that I think is kind of funny, like how that's in the game. And it doesn't seem cringy, because like based off of your responses, this happens, and all of your actions have similar reactions, positive and negative. Like, you can, if you don't want to wake up your roommate, he's not going to be happy with you, but you might be able to take first team snaps at that position. So like, it's things that like go hand in hand. Like, it's going to mess up your leadership, but it might increase your coach trust. So I think Road to Glory is probably like the most solid game mode in terms of how it's set up. I think it's great. I know there's some of the mini games are a little glitched and stuff, and again, I do think this game it does need a little bit of polish, but I think they're going to update it with over the next few weeks. And then Dynasty, I've been really going into Dynasty now, and it is, man, recruiting does take a while to set up, and I will say it is a process. You can put a lot of time into recruiting if you want, and it's just a process, I will say. I do love how there's like it's not like NCAA 14 where you just assign points, but you also like, but it's the same as well. Like, you can assign points, but like in different ways, and you can recruit players in your own specific ways. And I don't know, it's a very interesting process. I think it's fun, but it definitely is a little tedious for the time being. I will see how it goes. I'm like halfway through my first season at Florida State, just going through it. But it does seem pretty interesting so far. And, you know, and also the different kinds of the coach trees and all the different abilities that you can get. I think that's really cool. I haven't dived fully into that yet. Like, I'm still figuring it out. You know, I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos, but it wasn't until I get my hands on the sticks that I could kind of dive into it. And I'm still trying to figure out how this coach stuff works. Like, obviously, like, you get this, it gives you these abilities, and it is interesting. So that is something that's a thing that's kind of cool. And then also, like, when it goes to Dynasty with the updated things like with the crowd themes and stuff. I think those are cool. I wish it kind of announced when you're having a crowd theme. Like I know as if it says it on the website, like if it's game of the week, first home game, or a rival. I wish it said it on like the play screen so you can like coordinate your uniforms. Like if it says stripe out, blue and white stripe out coming in. Okay, I'm going to wear blue and white or whatever. Or blackout crowd. Okay, I'm going to wear the black uniforms. I wish that was something that they put in the game, just so I know. And then, yeah, so that's something that and then also the studio updates, they're kind of not as exhilarating. At least I haven't gotten the ones where, like, I don't know. I'm not super impressed with the studio updates. They seem okay. Like, was it Kevin Connors? I think that's what his name is. He seems nice. He seems fine, but like it's just, I don't know. I'm not blown away by that part, the studio updates. And then the bottom bar, like where it shows like the the updates for all the other scores, it seems pretty generic. Like it's just black and white. I wish they had a little bit more color into it. But yeah, it's what it is. I'm not like super bummed by it. It gives you the information that you need, and it goes in the right way. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then lastly, Ultimate Team. I will say, Ultimate Team might not be terrible. I will say Ultimate Team sounds kind of fun, especially that you can do like solo seasons. Whenever I did Ultimate Team, it's just a way to like grind and get your teams up to the highest overall. And I've never really like put money into Ultimate Team because I don't want to spend money on that. I got bills to pay. So if you are someone that likes to do that, all for you. I'm not trying to criticize you. Do what you want to do. It's your money. If it's not your money, then whoever is paying for it, then that's their problem. But yeah, so when it comes to Ultimate Team, I do think I'm probably gonna play it whenever I want to take a break from Road to Glory or from Dynasty and just chill and just grind out challenges. And I think challenges is a way to really get to learn the game. I really think that's a way, if you really want to learn the game and just go through things and get some rewards for it, I recommend playing Ultimate Team solo challenges. That's literally like probably the best way you can learn the game easily. Obviously they have like those little drills in practice mode, but I definitely think that's a cool way you can do it as well. And then yeah, so like they've had solo battles from Madden, those are back, but then the solo seasons and how you can have it on freshman, varsity, or all-American mode, I haven't been able to get into that yet because the servers have been down, but I'm really excited for that because I feel like that would be such a cool way, because I hate playing head-to-head because I get smoked. Like, I am not really good at the game. Like, if we ever do an online Dynasty, I think we're going to do one soon, guys. I'm just trying to get everything sorted out and make sure everyone has the game. Once we get everything sorted out, I'm going to do an online Dynasty, and if you guys ever play up against me, it's an instant win for y'all. So don't worry about that. So, yeah, that's about it. I mean, I guess the last thing would be the kicking meter, and, man, I'm getting cooked by it. Oof, there's a little voice crack. I'm getting cooked by it. That thing is difficult, and I will say, I think it's cool. Like, it should be difficult. I don't know how. I'm gonna maybe have to practice it forever. I heard there's a way you can change it back, but I do think it's kind of cool that you can kind of do that. Like in terms of it makes it like there's a skill to kicking now. So I do think that is kind of cool. Again, there's a huge learning curve with that, but overall, I am super happy about the game. And then yeah, last but not least, Team Builder. Yeah, I made a video about how Team Builder, there was like already Team Builder teams in the game. Yeah, that's kind of crazy, right? Those are like, apparently they're like EA logos, and they were in NHL and all that stuff. So it does seem like they're demo teams, but it does show, I think, what the possibility of what Team Builder could be. So I'm sure you guys may have watched that video. That is by far my most popular video so far, which I am so thankful for you guys. Like, really, you guys are awesome and really the best. I cannot thank you guys enough. I really didn't deserve that for that, but I'm very grateful. We should be getting Team Builder updates on Friday. Apparently there's an app, which if there's an app, honestly, it might be worth the wait. Like, if I can make the games, like if I'm just at a meeting at work and I can just be like, I'm gonna make a team. I think that would be cool. I think that would just be so cool. Okay, so that's gonna be it, guys. I'm gonna stop it because we are at a long video, but those are my initial thoughts. I love the game so far. There are some things that are a little nitpicky. Just try to enjoy the game, man. It's just a fun. I'm just glad college football's back. Of course, there's gonna be some things that need to get fixed, but I'm just glad we have a game, and it's here to stay. And you know, the fact that we had 700,000 people playing last night just shows that this game, you know, it ain't going nowhere. Like EA is gonna make a bag off of this, and it just, you know, it seems like they really hit it out of the park and really set the standard high. I really think there's a lot they can build off of. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video, guys. If you do, be sure to hit the like button down below. You can subscribe if you want. If not, that's perfectly okay. But other than that, this has been Jagnal, and I will see you guys next time.